Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Create with Tina. Today I'm excited to do a card kit with you. So this is one of our brand new card kits called All is Calm and Bright. And look at everything that you get. You get your ink, you get a mini stamp set, you even get a block with the set, which I love because I grabbed this kit to do in the car. You get twine, you get dimensionals, there's glue dots in there, and there's the glue dots, and even the embellishments. And then, of course, all of the pieces you need to put these cards together are in the box, and they're already cut or die cut and ready to go. These particular card fronts are beautiful because they have a stitching around them that's already embossed in, so you don't even have to get out your embossing machine. You're just ready to go. And then look at the envelopes. You get envelopes for all 9 cards, and even the inside of the envelopes are pretty. Look at that, a little crumb cake polka dot inside decoration of the card, so that when they open it, it's really a finished, beautiful experience. And then I'm showing you the card bases because these are really thick linen and they have a texture to them. I don't know if it's showing up on video, but there's a beautiful linen texture. And then look at the die cuts, all the die cuts you need. And boy, you guys, this kit is full of die cuts, but it's all of these details that make these cards so pretty. I am so glad I brought this card. And you even get the die cuts you need for stamping. So I am an hour away from home right now. I'm watching my husband's game. He coaches 7th grade football, and so I go to support him. But I realized I was going to have an hour to kill before the game starts while he warms up with his kids. So I brought this kit to do in the car. And so that's why I am recording with one hand while in the car. And then look at these die cuts. They are made with pearl paper. Very pretty. Okay, so here we are, still in the car. And what I've done is I have popped out all of the pieces that I need, just one for each card for this video. So I popped all of them out and I laid them in a pile for each card that I need to put together. And I think you can see in the video now how the pearl paper just shines on those trees and the little sprigs. It's going to be gorgeous when it's on the card. And I was looking at the die cuts, and what I love is that they give you extra. So you only need 3 of them for the cards because you make 3 of each card, but they've given us 4. So if you mess up while you're stamping, you still have a spare. And I'm in the car, and I did mess up on stamping one of them. As you'll see, I didn't get it quite straight, so I was thankful. And the tags, we only needed 3 for each card, and again, we have 4, and then we have 8. And then here is that stamp set. Isn't that cute? All right, now what I've done is I have gone ahead and stamped everything that I had pulled out for each card, and then I decided to go ahead and stamp the other die cuts while they were still attached to their background. And here's where I mess up. You're going to see I stamped this one and I go a little off, and that's because I know I'm holding the camera and I'm trying to make sure I'm videoing for you and stamping, but it's a little off-centered. It would be fine, but I am going to go ahead and stamp it again. So I'm thankful for the 4, and everything that we need is stamped, and that all is calm and bright. I stamped it to the left edge based on the instructions in the card kit because we are going to put stuff on the right edge. So look at that. Everything is ready to go. Now, a tip I want to show you is that whichever thing is bigger, whether it's the block or the ink pad, that's what goes on the table, and you press the smaller tool into it. So because we're just using an ink spot and it's little, I always flip my block over and dab the ink on. That way I get good coverage and I don't get ink on the block where I could accidentally smudge it onto my background. So here I am stamping Merry Christmas, and what I wanted to show you here is that for this sentiment you will stamp it right near the top of that die cut because we are going to add one of those little strips right across it that says from our house to yours. So you want to stamp it near the top. And if you forget and don't do that, no problem, because there are extras in the kit. All right, so now what we're doing is we are going to work on stamping some of the background of the card. And I found a little scratch piece of paper in my purse, and that's what I'm doing because, again, I'm not in my workshop, I'm in the car, and I don't want to accidentally stamp on my little lap board. And it's this fun little cluster stamp. It looks like snow, and there's a couple teeny tiny stars in there, and you're just going to stamp it randomly around the background where it shows you in the instructions, flipping it every time so that you are getting a true random stamp. So I stamped it in one direction, and then I flipped it for the second. And it doesn't have to be perfect because a lot of it will be covered up by the piece that you put on top, because this is supposed to just look like a little bit of snow or stars in the background with your main focal point sentiment and images popping out of the front. So there you go. See how that goes over most of it? So it's okay if when you get in the middle, you overlap a little. Okay, guys. Welcome back. So I didn't get everything finished in the car at the football game because I did go watch the game and then we did other things. So I came home and I worked on the cards, and so I have done 2 of every 3 of the cards, and I thought it would be fun to put one together and just to show you some of the changes I did. So here's the instructions, and here is a finished card exactly how they show to make it. Isn't that pretty? Look at all the dimensions. So you guys saw me do the stamping in the car and pop everything out, and I just put it together. And then here is one that I did with just a little itty bitty bit of changes. So I always like to add just something a little different and plain just for fun. So all I did was take the colors from the kit, which was Petal Pink, and this is Lost Lagoon, and I just added some strips to the bottom. I tore it. And you guys know, I think that on the back of the instructions, it tells you what the colors were. So that's where I got the Lost Lagoon and the Pretty in Pink from. And so seriously, I just added a scrap. Isn't that pretty? So I thought, for fun, let's put together the third card. So I have everything in here. I did sort it all while I was in the car because I'd already done all the stamping. And then when I got home, when I put these 2 together and I decided to add. And so here's a little piece. You can tell it's just a scrap of Lost Lagoon. And simply, all I did was tear it, just like this. Okay, easy peasy. And then layered them together. So I love the 2-tone cardstock because one little piece can give you 2 different colors, and you can layer those 2 torn pieces just like that, with the light on the bottom and the dark on the top, all from the one piece, and both have that white edge to just give it another little pop of dimension. Okay, so for the card, you remember they gave us extras of everything, so that's the extra thrown in here. And then one thing I forgot in the car was I did not stamp the sentiment, and the sentiment was from our house to yours. So I thought I would do that, and I thought it would be fun to show you how I get these long skinny sentiments on my block straight. So I really just drop it just like that because kind of like a cat, it's always going to land straight. A cat's always going to land on its feet. These stamps are always going to land straight for the most part, and then I'm good to go. And again, whichever is bigger goes on the table or the flat surface. So the block is on the table, and I'm using the little ink cube to get my ink on, and I'm just going to stamp directly over this. And I'm stamping it in the middle, a little bit closer to the, go straight down, right edge and straight up. There you go. So look, I had an extra one and I don't even need it. And I didn't bring my stamp cleaner in, so I'm just going to stamp it off and put it right back on the block. And I'm actually going to grab the Merry Christmas stamp off of this sheet because I also want to do the inside of my cards. So I'm going to get that on there and just set it aside for later. Okay, I'm going to close my ink for now. And then I just thought it would be fun to show you how easy it was to put this together. So they did give us, and I think, where are mine? I might have taken them out of the box when I was playing at home. So I'll just grab my other, oh, here they are, the glue dots. I love that they do give us a sheet of the glue dots with every kit. Well, most of the kits come with them. And so all I did was dropped a couple of glue dots right on the card front like this. And they're so easy to take that little top release paper off. And then grab the roll. Did it roll off my desk? Now that I want to show you, I can't, oh, see, right in front of me. Grab the roll of twine that they give us. And one thing I like to do is just pull it between my thumb and finger just to kind of get some of those kinks out so that it's less curvy when I'm using it. See that? It just kind of straightens it out. And then all I'm going to do is put it on one glue dot and then just wrap it around. They give us plenty. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times, just like that. And I'm going to end on a glue dot. And I'm going to cut it off with whatever scissors I have in here. There we go. Okay, so easy. And then we're going to take all of the glue, the 3D dimensionals that they give us. Before I do that, I think I'm going to add this down. It's easier to add it while it's flat. Okay, so I'm going to add Merry Christmas hanging a little more off the left edge from our house to yours, just like that. I think I put it on a little crooked. It's okay. There we go. Now I'll add my glue dots, or dimensionals. These are the dimensionals. I like to add more than probably is needed because I'm mailing them. So I'm putting 5 on here just to help keep it straight. Okay, take off that release paper and I'm going to add it to the card. So I just put the dimensionals right in the middle and I'm going to add this right to the card. There you go. And then I'm going to add this little house. So I'm using tape that I had laying around in here, but these are what you can use. And you stick the house right there, okay, just like that. And then I will stick one of these right here on the end and put our first little holly berry die cut on. Ta-da, that easy. And then I will stick another glue dot on right there. And then I didn't want to try and tie a little tiny ribbon around this because that was too much for me. I'm usually a very speedy crafter, so I just put a glue dot down, just like that. And I'm going to stick this little guy on that glue dot, and then I'm going to stick this little holly berry on the other glue dot. Look how easy that comes together. And then we have our little gems that come in the kit. Add 3 of those. And they give you more gems than you need, so if you lose them or if you just want to jazz it up a little bit more, you can. Look how cute that is. Okay, now all we have to do, I'm going to start by putting this on the card. And here's where I do get a little crazy. I really want it to be supported, so I'm going to cut off, whoops, the ends of my dimensionals and use those to help give it some stability. But you do you. However many dimensionals you like, you use. That's the fun of crafting. We could do what we like. So I'll put a, whoops, separate those. put just a few more on. I really like it to be supported. I went through all the work of making this pretty card. I don't want it to totally bend up. And I'm willing to pay for the dimensionals, so I don't mind. Okay, take off all the release paper. This part's kind of boring. Okay. Oh, and see, I put the extra pieces in just in case I messed up while I was stamping, but look, I didn't use any of those. I'm still going to use this piece. Okay. Now, we're just going to add this whole thing to the front of the card. And then to make this card a little bit different, I'm going to add the Lost Lagoon to the bottom of it. Just like that. And then take a glue dot off. I do everything with my fingers. I'm not good with the Pick Me tool. I don't even use scissors most of the time. I just use my fingers. But I am just going to slide this little guy right under there. Plenty of room to do that. And there is another one that's supposed to go on, but it's probably in another one of the envelopes, and we'll find it in just a little bit. But there you go. That is the first card, and it shows the evolution. So I made it exactly like they said. And then I added just little pops of color. And then on this one, I also popped up the house just a little. So that is card number 1, and I just used scraps. Okay, so now let's look at the next card. Okay, here is card number 2. When you're looking at the instructions of the kit, okay, and it's right here. And it shows you everything you need to do to make the card, even where to put the dimensionals. If you only want to put them on the edge, you know I wouldn't do that. And so then here's my first change. I added the pretty in pink just behind this piece. Isn't that so pretty? Easy. So now you guys know what I did on card number 3. So I got everything in the envelope. I'm wondering, and this one was the top fold card. Aha! I knew it got in a different envelope. This is the last little one I need to add right under here for this card to finish it off. Okay, so card number 3, you can see the only difference I'm going to do is I'm going to use Lost Lagoon to add a pop of color. And it's just a simple change, but what it does is it makes each of the cards just a little bit different, which is fun. Okay, so you can see how it's going to go. So then the next thing we'll do is we'll add dimensionals, and again they gave us the extra pieces in case we messed up with stamping, but I didn't, so I don't need them. But I'm going to add dimensionals behind the ornaments, and for this one I'm not going to go too close to the tip because it's going to hang off the card a little bit, and I'm not going to worry about any of this because it's going to be hidden up inside. So I'm going to do this one first, remove the release paper, okay, and I'm going to add it centered to the card. Oops, hanging off just a little. Ooh, I didn't get that off. There we go. Okay, centered, hanging off. Because I just eyeball it because that's what it looks like in the picture. Now I can add dimensionals here. Okay, even put one in the middle. And then we'll add one of these fun little glue dots to the center of my flower. And we will use our fingernails to kind of pull, and that kind of curves it just a little to give the flower dimension. And I will stick it offset. Boom, just like that. on that piece. And now I'm going to not take the release paper off, but I'm going to get this kind of where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the glue dots again, and I'm just going to put 4 of them down. 3, 4, okay. And then we're going to stick these little die cuts down. So 1, take all those little backings off. Look how easy they come off. And it's so much easier to store these little guys than a big roll, I think. I always had the roll and I never thought anything of it, but now that I use these, I think, oh, I like it. Okay, so there's a purl side. So I want the purl side up. And I'm going to do it like that. Like that. See how easy that is? Okay, now we'll add the Finding Joy. Take these off over here so you're not watching. You just flick little papers. Okay, I'm going to add, oh, Sending Joy right over that. And then I'm going to put, I think I'm only going to use a half a dimensional on this flower. So I'm going to just cut one of these little guys. Just like that. And put it about there. Because I only want to pop it up on the part that is not over the Sending Joy. There you go. Okay, last thing to do is to add this little guy. So I'm going to add 1 dimensional and I'm going to put it on the edge. You know what? I'm just going to put it on the edge. So I might just do another half of a dimensional. So grab your scissors. Just snip one of these out. Just like that. And I'm going to put it just on the outside edge. Okay. Sending Joy. Okay, just like that. Now we've got our little pretty teeny tiny gems. I'm going to add 3 in the center. So if you don't have the pick me tool but you have scissors, these work really well for grabbing them too. There we go. Okay, now I did add a bow, so I'm going to pull, see how it gets very kinky when it comes off. That's why just pulling it with between your fingers does straighten it out quite a bit. So let's see if I can make a teeny tiny bow. It's very hard to do this on camera. You know, everything on camera is harder, but we got it. There we go. So I'm making a little bow and then pull my tails down to get the bow to the size I want. Oh, I flipped it upside down there. And I just want a teeny little bow. And these are not my ribbon scissors. We'll see if I can cut it. Yes. Yay. Okay. I'm going to grab a glue dot, stick it right over the hole of that little guy. Pull the release paper off. And put it down. There you go. Now, for time's sake, I'm not going to completely finish the card and wrap it with twine. I'm just going to show you. This is a top fold card, so the twine's actually going to go around the card, but there you go. That's the 3rd card. And I think I've gotten myself a little crooked. There. All right, so what do you think? That is card as it is with a little pop of pink and a little pop of the Lost Lagoon. The other thing I think would be really, really pretty is to add Wink of Stella. Get some color on these images with the Wink of Stella so it really glistens. And then I'm also going to stamp the inside with that Merry Christmas stamp. That's why I got it ready to show you guys. So again, whatever is bigger, which happens to be the stamp, that is what goes on the table. And I'm going to hold it steady and I'm going to use the little Stampin' Spot. Now, you guys know, I think you know that these are linen-based pads, and the Stampin' Up! Full-size ink pads are the foam-based. So they ink a little bit different. You can press a little bit harder with these, and it's not going to squish the ink out because it's a linen pad. All right, and then all I'm going to do is stamp Merry Christmas. So the inside is now ready to go for my Christmas cards. So that's card 2. All right, so let's look at card number 3. So card number 3 is this fun card with all of the trees and the little deer. Okay, so this is the card completely done up the way Stampin' Up! Does it, or the way they teach it. So you can see, I think you can see how pretty it is because that's pearlized white paper back there. And then the dimension you get behind some of those trees, and then your bow and your little deer, and then we can stamp Merry Christmas. You can use extra cardstock on the inside, and of course you know what I did. I used Lost Lagoon, and this is card number 2. That's the only change, is Lost Lagoon. And so you know that means that for card number 3, what I would do is use the Pretty in Pink. So I really just pulled out 2 colors and all of the scraps related to those 2 colors. So you can see, I'll dump all those little pieces off, but you can see how it's going to look using the Pretty in Pink. And the way I put it together, I did add dimensionals to these. All right, was I set this one kind of where I knew I wanted it to go. All right, and then following the instructions, the pearl ones are in the very back, with the biggest one being close to the green. So I'm going to flip both of those over and add just a little bit of tape to them. Okay, so I'm going to make sure, actually, I can attach these together for right now, and they won't move. Okay, get rid of that. So put my tree, this is kind of my marker to help me know where I want the others to go. Okay, so the big tree goes closest to the green one, slightly underneath. And then the other 2 trees that are flat are both of the green ones. Okay, so I have them both here. I'm going to flip those both over. And if you're doing all 3 at one time, it's even quicker. Okay, flip both of those over. And this one is going to go about here, leaving space for a pink tree. And now I'm going to use another spacer tree here, which is the darkest pink. So I'm just going to set it down so I get my spacing right. Okay, so then we'll put the next pearl tree down, and it's kind of under that pink one. And then the last green one goes over that. Okay, so now you can see I've got my spacing down because of using the big tree. Now it's just a matter of taking off the backing and adding the trees that are going to be popped out. Super easy. Now, this one's going to go about there. And then the last tree has this spare dimensional on it. It's not going to hurt anything, but that's why it keeps sticking. Okay. They're never going to see the back side. It doesn't matter what's on it. Then we're going to stick the 3rd tree, or the main tree. Just like that. Okay, now you've got your sentiment. You saw me stamp it in the car. I only added dimensionals on each end because they're going to go over the tree, and so I don't need extra dimensionals there. All right, so next we're going to add All is Calm, All is Bright, and it's going to be centered. You can go higher if you want, about like that. Easy enough. And then we will use the glue dots, and I'm just going to put several. 1, 2, and I'm even going to add one over here for the deer. Okay, and take the little backings off. 1, 2, 3. We'll add some of those little die cuts. I love doing it this way because you don't have to worry about liquid glue at all. You just stick them right down. And then this little guy goes right over them. And then the deer also goes right on. And you can see where we're going. Oops. Well, if that one's not going to stick, I'm going to add a glue dot right to it directly. I guess I didn't push very hard. I could have pushed harder. Okay, and then this is going to go directly on the card. You know what? This one, I'm not going to add extra dimension. I'm just going to put it directly on the card for difference, just to make it look a little different. And then we finish the card by sprinkling in some of the white gems that we have left over. And I have a little boo-boo right there. Car stamping. So, no problem. Boop. Now there's a gem over it. And then we're just going to cluster them around the card. 2. And we have extras, so you can use as many as you want. But I'm going to do 3 because that's what they showed. So there you go. Those are the 3 cards with the 3 changes. And we can stamp the inside again because I have it on the block. So just ink it up, back and forth. You can decorate the inside as much or as little as you want. And go straight down, firm pressure, straight up. Okay, there you go. That is the new Christmas kit, the new Calm and Bright kit. Now, what's really cool is this just came out and it's on sale through October 8th. So if you are catching my video right away, you'll be able to get it on sale for up to 30% off. I don't remember exactly how much this one is discounted. I might just glue this one down to show you guys as well. Flat, flat, flat to the card. There we go. So there you go. That's the kit, and look at all of these beautiful cards. And the last thing I wanted to show you before I go is I wanted to remind you how I store my stamps. And I use these little small storage envelopes, and I'll have a link below in the description. And they fit our stamps perfectly. And when you get the kit, you get 3 different languages of this because it's sold internationally. And you can just stick your little cover like that right in. And then you can stick your stamp set right in as well with the little cover piece, which is somewhere on my desk. But I'll show you how well they fit inside these little envelopes. And then, ta-da, no more lost stamps, no more forgotten stamps because you're storing them all and you can just thumb through them when the title of the stamp is right there at the top, and you can see exactly what you have because these kits, they're such a great deal, and they come with the stamps in the block. So I love that. So there you go. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, please hit subscribe. I also do scrapbooking videos as well. So thanks for watching me today. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.